a noise. We're coming back.
Thanks. Nothing new on Gorsuch.
Anytime.
Welcome back to the Herman Cain Show. Thank you for joining us. We're going to go into RAPID, FIRE, at 877-310-2100. Today is the big day, supposedly, for the vote. Remember, it was 7 years ago today, that President Obama, President Obama signed the Unaffordable Care Act, a.k.a. also known as the Affordable Care Act, also known as Obamacare. 7 years. With 7 years of a disastrous approach, the Democrats still want to keep it. They still want to save it. That's why they're working overtime to try and discourage members of Congress from voting for the Republicans' American Health Care Act. And you've got senators in the United States Senate that are already talking against it, and it hasn't even passed yet. Many of them haven't even read what's in it yet. You got Senator McCain. You got Senator Ted Cruz. You got Senator Lindsey Graham, Senator Rand Paul. What do they all have in common? As Shane DeBee pointed out, they all lost to President Trump. I'm just saying, they are angry, sore losers. When are they going to put what's good for the people ahead of political posturing? So let's see what happens with the vote later today. You hear a lot of pessimism about what might and might not happen. I'm more optimistic, cautiously, about what might and might not happen. But I can tell you one thing that I would highly recommend to you. Don't believe the liberals and the Democrats when they declare that the American Health Care Act is going to be worse for people. That is a outright lie. Remember, the people who are telling you that the AHCA isn't going to work are the same ones that lied to all of America in order to pass the Unaffordable Care Act. And now, at 877-310-2100, get ready, Shane B. Rapid fire.
So many listeners to talk to, so little time. How does Herman cover so many topics with so many people? It's Rapid Fire, every day with Herman Cain.
Hello, Chad. Welcome to Rapid Fire. You've got a minute.
Wow, Mr. Cain, this is the second time I've been able to speak with you, and I can't tell you what a great honor it is.
Well, thank you.
And I can't thank you enough for what you do for us, the American people.
Thanks.
And shedding some light on what exactly takes place. Having said that, I'll move right into my question, and I'm actually hoping you can help me out. I listen to Nunes, I listen to Comey up on Capitol Hill, I listen to the CIA director, and it's Russia, 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 Russia. And then I hear Nunes yesterday come out with this information regarding the wiretapping, and I hear Senator McCain attack him, and then the Democrats attack him, attacking the House, saying they're not trustworthy enough to do this investigation. But when I heard Nunes yesterday, I was under the impression that he repeatedly was adamant that this had zero to do with the Russians and everything to do with the intelligence agency gathering information on the transition team and then unmasking members of the transition team. And I'm not clear how, if they're chasing down a Russian lead and he's adamant it has nothing to do with the Russians, how is he compromising the Senate's faith in the House committee, and why are they calling for this special committee? Because it seems like in the event of looking for Russians, we found something completely unrelated.
Which
and
is,
I know that they spin everything, but
yeah.
if you could help me understand this, I would appreciate it.
They not only found something that was unrelated, they found something that was much more serious. Let's back up a little bit of a history trail. The FBI, through Director Comey, has said they have found no evidence of a Russian connection. They also said that it's an ongoing investigation, and rightly so. Maybe they might turn up something else, but so far there's been no there. The only reason they continue this investigation to see if there's a Russian connection is because the Democrats keep harping on there is, but they have no proof. So to pacify them to some extent, they keep pursuing this, even though they found no new information. Secondly, when Representative Nunes gave his report about what he had been informed of, and he says clearly there was no Russian connection. But the alarming part is that there was some incidental collection on maybe Trump, didn't say for sure, but certainly some of his transition team, and they unmasked them, which meant that they threw them under the bus in the intelligence community, which is a crime. Now, the only reason they keep pushing this Russian thing is to pacify the Democrats. They said it's an ongoing investigation. Now, to Nunes' credit, he is saying, since he is chairman of this House Intelligence Committee, that, yeah, there was some, whatever you want to call it, maybe not wiretapping, but there was some surveillance that went on, especially some of the Trump team members, because they put their names out there. Now, what was also wrong, Chad, is that they shouldn't have put their names out there. That is against the law. Secondly, it shouldn't have been widely distributed if it was incidental. Why put it out there other than to paint a cloud of doubt? So you're not confused, but they are trying to make it seem confusing, and it really boils down to this. Let the investigations go on as long as they want to. I does not care. I don't think President Trump cares. There's no new evidence so far. It's just the liberal media wants to spin the story over and over and over and over and over. Now, the one bone that the Democrats picked with Nunes, I would agree with. Why didn't he share it with the committee first? That's something that I think they're going to have to deal with. But it's not as confusing as they have made it, because they continue to find no new there. But the thing that is new is that there was some surveillance going on of some Trump transition team members. In that way, he was partly right. But now they're going to try to spin it that he wasn't totally right. Thank you, Chad, for listening. Mike, you've got a minute on rapid fire.
Hello, Herman.
Yes, sir.
I disagree with you a little bit on why did Nunes do this, go actually straight to the press with it. As saturated as our government is with corruption, it appears to me that he didn't trust the people on the Intelligence Committee. In other words, if he waited 2 or 3 days to go public with this, he might have ended up like that DNC investigator with 4 bullets in his back in a robbery, supposedly, where nothing was missing, and nobody's been told. I think it was a defensive move on his part. He was faced with a decision: what do I do with this information? If the safest thing to do was go straight to the public with it, so would be no point in. I mean, it's already out there. So, what are your thoughts on that? Did that thought cross your mind at all, that might be a reason he went straight to the public?
That thought not only crossed my mind, Shana B and I talked about it during the break, but I have no way of knowing how true it is or it isn't. Shana B and I had that very conversation. I said, Shana B, maybe he did it because he didn't want the Democrats or the media to figure out a way to demagogue it before he got that information out there. Now, I hadn't gone so far as to say he wanted to avoid getting some bullets in the back or anything like that, but I think you raise a good point. At this point, we don't know. The fact is, he got it out there. Rather than him focusing on the information he's revealed, watch the liberal media and the Democrats focus on him. That's the downside. Maybe he calculated all of that. Maybe not. But you raise a very good point in terms of why he may have bypassed all of that, such that they didn't get a chance to re-spin and regurgitate the story before it actually came out. So I think you make a good point, Mike. That is food for thought, at least good food for thought. Hello, Dale. You've got a minute on Rapid Fire.
Yes, hi, Herman. What concerns me is that Paul Manafort was working with a Russian oligarch and getting paid $10 million a year to advance the interests of Vladimir Putin and the Kremlin. And now I'm hearing bodies piling up in Moscow. Anybody that knows anything about the Trump administration or were in contact with the Trump administration are dying. Putin is actually killing these people so he can guarantee their silence.
Now, that part of the story we have not heard. We have not confirmed, okay? You could be right, but I'm saying we have not confirmed that. Secondly, the information about Manafort, you're right, we've got to look further to figure out how much of it is true. Now, as soon as there was any potential conflict early on in the campaign, Manafort stepped down, all right? And as Sean Spicer clearly said, they may not have gone all the way back to his sandbox days, so there may have been some things that he didn't know, but he didn't stay on the campaign. It's not like Manafort stayed on the campaign and the president and his staff knew about this. No, he stepped down. So he wasn't in there long enough to impact the Trump campaign or any Russian connection if, in fact, it turns out there were some. But you better believe they're going to try to make it turn out as if this is a Trump gotcha moment. Now, as far as as far as the things happening in Russia, we have not confirmed the things that you're talking about people dying and this sort of thing. I don't have that story, so I'm not going to condone that part of the story. Was Manafort working for some other countries, and including Russia, at some point in time over the last decade? The answer is yes. That much we can confirm. But we cannot confirm those other things that you say.
I was listening to Fox News the other day, and they said that a Russian lawyer connected to this whole thing had been thrown off a 4-story building. He's in critical condition as we speak.
I saw that story.
And another thing is, Herman, I mean, this is one of the most anti-American administration that I've come across. I mean, you have Michael Flynn, who had the Russian connection, now Paul Manafort, then you have two other guys. Paul Manafort has been in Trump's
But wait, there you go again. Paul Manafort has been off this campaign long before. I mean, why do you keep bringing his name into it? Now,
because he's known Donald Trump since the 1980s.
Well, so what? Haven't you known some people since the 1980s? Does that implicate you into everything that they've done? That's all I'm trying to say, Dale. I'm not going to grab a hold of what you're saying to try to connect some dots. Look, here's what we know. The FBI director says there's an ongoing investigation. I'm going to wait and let the ongoing investigation unfold rather than trying to have the investigation in and through the media. That's all I'm trying to say. I'm not trying to defend them. I just don't think the media is the place to draw these conclusions. Thanks a lot for the call. You're listening to the Herman Cain Show.
He's been there. He's done that. And he wants to give you the insight and the advantage. Herman Cain, solutions for a better America.
Hey, Herman?
Yeah.
Hey, man, he combined 3 totally different stories there.
Yeah.
So that lawyer is for the lawyer that was thrown off the balcony.
Yeah.
Was the lawyer of a candidate who opposed Putin, who has no relation to Paul Manafort at all.
Okay.
That's in your notes, your news nuggets, if you want to clarify that when you come back.
Yeah.
And then Michael Flynn has a totally different potential connection altogether. Nothing to do with Paul Manafort or this Russian lawyer. So the guy was just throwing gibberish out there.
That's what I know. He was trying to let the media be the investigation. That was my point.
But not even that though. I mean, he's taking three different stories and mixing them together. When yes, the connection may be that Russia and somebody from the U.S. are implicated in the stories, but the stories have nothing to do with each other.
Yeah.
If that makes sense at all. They're
Yeah,
just
good point.
different stories.
I will make that statement when I come back.
The news nugget for the lawyer to his Russian funny business. So if you want to clarify that, and that has nothing to do again with Manafort.
Okay. But he was trying to connect the three.
Yes, he was trying to connect all three of those stories as if they were the same, but they're
Yeah.
not. There's no connection to them aside from the name of the country. Made me drink my coffee early here, man. These folks, these idiots.
Now you see what Ashley deals with every day.
Oh my God, I know, man. All right, doors open.
Hey, Jared.
He's gone, but I'm back. Trying to piece something together for happening now. Jared's back.
Yeah.
Hey, Jared.
Yes, sir.
So the three separate stories were one about the lawyer hired by the family of Sergei Magnitsky.
Right, which he is an oppositionist to Vladimir Putin.
Okay.
Nothing to do with Paul Manafort. Paul Manafort's story is that he may have had connections to a billionaire in the Putin family, but again, there's no connection between those two
Right.
stories.
And the second story is a Russian whistleblower. And the third one is Paul Manafort.
You're right. In the third story, then he brought in Michael Flynn too in his call too, which Michael Flynn has absolutely
Nothing to do with that.
Nothing. So just the caller's name was Dale too. So just
Okay.
Millions of acts of normality that we find the best response to terrorism.
Just like a liberal to combine stories like that.
Yeah.
It is in these acts
The media isn't the investigation. Thanks, that's helpful.
Oh yeah, no problem, man.
I'm going to set him straight when we come back. Started talking about people dying and being shot and
Coming back.
one more shot.
Anytime.
Welcome back to the Herman Cain Show. Thank you for joining us. In this last segment of Rapid Fire, I want to clarify something that Dale brought up. And Dale, here's the problem I have with the accusations that you were making. It's literally 4 different stories. One, a lawyer hired by a family who had been seriously injured in a fall from his Moscow apartment. You alluded to that. Secondly, a Russian whistleblower. Thirdly, the Paul Manafort story and Michael Flynn. Those are all different stories. And what you attempted to do was to draw conclusions from 4, as far as we know, unrelated stories. This is why I pointed out the FBI, the CIA, they are continuing an investigation. It is their job to connect the dots if they are connectable in all these stories. That's all I'm saying, not the media or not us, because we don't have all the facts. So they are 4 different stories from 4 different angles, and at this point, you can't draw conclusions based upon 4 different stories coming from the media. Let the agencies do that job, and if the investigation shows that there's some connectability, we're going to see that down the line. You're listening to the Herman Cain Show, and don't forget to go to HermanCain.com. You just might learn something. Thank you, streamers. We'll be back in a moment. Yes.